talking to us today about some ways that we can help our residents, specifically with oral and dental care. So they're going to present for about 20 minutes, and then we'll move on with the rest of our all-staff meeting. So, all yours.
Hello guys, thank you for having us. This is a very nice facility. I'm glad to be here. Our goal today is to just help you give your patients better oral care. My name is Jim. I'm with the ETSU Dental Hygiene Program. This is, and I'll do it in the order we are here, not necessarily the order we're going, but Brittany, Diane, and Elena, and we'll be breaking down how to better clean dentures, proper brushing and flossing techniques, and then different dexterity modifications that you can do to toothbrushes just to help your patients. Like I said, we'll go through each phase of this presentation, and then at the end I'll come back and see if there's any questions, and we'll do our best to answer all the questions that you guys have. Diane will be going first, and I'm going to be going around with handouts. Did anybody miss the handout for denture cleaning?
I don't think they did.
Okay, I'll just pass these out. Oh, sure, thank you. So as those are going around, Diane will be talking about that, and I'll also be passing around some different pamphlets with pictures that give you guys ideas of what you can look for, and maybe just help you identify anything that you have in any of your patients. So Diane will go ahead and start with denture care, and I'm going to kind of pass these out around the room and let everybody look.
First, I'll talk about what he's handing out. It's just some pictures of different things that you can notice in your patients who have dentures. Do you have a lot of people complain about sores in their mouth or anything like that? Have you had
Sometimes when they lose weight, we hear that their dentures aren't fitting as well and they're not as comfortable.
Okay. Do you all have a dentist on staff who works with that, or do you send them somewhere? They have to go out. Is their family responsible for doing that for them? Okay. Do you all just report that to them and then they, okay. Also, you'll notice in your denture patients, a lot of the time where they've lost some bone, their lips will start cracking right here. You can just, Vaseline is really good for that. Are you guys taking them out at night? The dentures? Yeah. Sometimes you'll have those patients who just absolutely don't want to take them out at night. I understand. But I don't know what you guys use to soak them in, but they've got like Efferdent, stuff like that. Do you guys do that at night and then you brush them? We have these little brushes. They're actually really good. I'm going to leave you guys a few, and we're going to be coming back. And if there's anything that you guys want us to bring, just let us know. But these brushes right here, are these what you use, or do you use regular toothbrush?
Some of them are the regular toothbrushes.
Okay, and those work just fine, but these are also really good to help clean them. One thing that I'm going to pass around too, this is something that we have, and if this is something that you're interested in, this is an ultrasonic machine. Whenever patients go to the dentist, twice a year, they put their denture in a little bag, put some cleaner in there, and it shakes the stuff off. So this would be something really good you guys may want to invest in, and you would just need one. I'll let Jim pass that around, but basically, twice a year, that's going to get all that harder stuff that builds up off for you guys, okay? And I don't know how much they are, but if that is something you're interested in, I can get you the number for the rep, okay? The only other thing that I have is if your patients are complaining that whenever they're biting down, they're not able to chew their food, I'm going to leave you a couple of these things, and I can get you more of these as well. This is just a little piece of paper. If you have your patient open and close down on the paper, it'll show you if there's a dark spot on their teeth they're hitting, they also need to go see their dentist. So I would tell their family members that too. But that means that their bite is off, so they're not going to be able to eat properly. Okay? Other than that, yeah, just make sure that you're soaking them at night and brushing them because their tissue really needs to breathe. And if you notice any of those sores in the book, whoever has it now on page 54, then you need to tell their family that they need to see their dentist, okay? Any questions about dentures?
What
Okay.
temperature of water should they be cleaned with?
Warm water is fine. You don't want it to be too hot just because dentures are made of different materials, so depending on what it is, you don't want it to be too hot because you don't want to damage their denture. Alright, and Elena will talk to you guys.
They're not dishwashers there.
Okay, so I am going to talk to you guys about some proper brushing and flossing techniques. Everything that we all already know, right? Hopefully. The current recommendations is to brush twice a day, at least twice a day, for 2 minutes each time. Now, depending on how many teeth your patients have, of course that's going to vary. But you want to make sure with plaque, the key to removal is more mechanical motion or removal than like a chemical or anything like that. So, I mean, technically, what you want to do is go at the tooth, rather than straight at it like this, you would go at a 45-degree angle to angle it towards the gum line, and then you're also getting interproximal. So if you will turn to whoever has the book, there's page 9. It's got some proper brushing and flossing techniques. But when you're brushing, of course, areas to really focus on are going to be right up here in this buccal area because you have salivary glands up here. And you also have salivary glands down here underneath the tongue. So these areas right here and right here are going to be the areas where plaque would calcify a lot quicker and turn harder. So the whole purpose of brushing is to try and remove that plaque before it becomes calculus. Because when it becomes calculus, that's where we come in and we clean it off. So of course, you're brushing at a 45-degree angle toward the gum line with that. All the way around all the surfaces. And when you get into the occlusal surfaces or the biting surfaces, you want to make sure to brush those as well. And you'll brush inside. And this is probably going to be a little awkward at first with patient, but it is very doable. When you come to the front of the teeth, rather than having the toothbrush like this, you want to turn it so that it's a little bit easier to maneuver on those tight spaces, especially down here. So of course, the occlusal, brush the inside, the outside of all the surfaces, and then turn it again when you get down here to brush here. And sometimes patients might report bad breath or something like that. You can actually brush the tongue or instruct them on how to brush the tongue if they're able to. So you would turn the brush, start at the back of the tongue, and just brush forward. That helps prevent any bacteria from the front of the tongue going back towards the back of the tongue. You want to try to just brush it out if you can. There are things called tongue scrapers as well. Plastic ones are pretty reasonable.
Yeah, we were out of those. So.
But those essentially, they kind of look like this, only this is a solid portion, and it's just like kind of like a rake almost. You would take that tongue.
A rake for your
A rake for your tongue, exactly. Some of the other things, flossing, if you will turn to page 10, there's some flossing techniques. For flossing, you want to wrap it around the middle finger, and you want to do it several times. This piece is actually a little too short, but when you pull a piece of floss out, you want it to come up to about your shoulder, so that gives you enough wrapping. But you want to wrap more on one side than you do the other, so that way as you're going in between the teeth, you can kind of just get a clean piece, rather than using the same piece and reintroducing bacteria to different areas of the mouth. So, if I can get this working right, I'll have to hold this for you. So the floss, of course, you wrap it around the middle fingers. You're going to use your pointer fingers and your thumbs to kind of direct the floss, but you'll come in like this and real gentle, and you want to hug around the tooth. So you almost make a C shape, and you'll do it on each side of the tooth. And that just gets up along the tooth and in between the gum there. So, but it's important to remember that. A lot of times your toothbrush is missing that area. So it's important to remove that. If you have patients that have a bridge, I dropped something, hold on 1 second. You can use a floss threader. So it's essentially like you're threading a needle, but it's a little piece of plastic, a little piece of blue plastic. And you're going to thread the floss through that. You'll kind of put it as halfway through, and then you would thread it underneath the bridge. So if you have, the bridge is a connection, so obviously you wouldn't be able to get in between certain teeth if they've got a bridge of 2 or 3 teeth. So you would go underneath the bridge. And with this, it's kind of hard to show because these are actual teeth. But you would go underneath the bridge and you can actually just, once you're under the bridge, kind of move this back and forth. You don't have to rethread it. You move it back and forth just to make sure that area is getting clean. So that is one thing. Another thing to look for, and I think we're going to leave some of these, you said?
Yeah, we're gonna leave some of the flossers too.
Is some areas of decay. And if you want to turn to page 22, it shows you some common sites of decay area. So with our tooth model, essentially, this is a big area right in here, the occlusals. If they have deep crevices in this area or they don't have sealants, they're not cleaning very well, stuff can just stay in there and it can wreak havoc. So what you're looking for when you're looking for areas of decay is like dark areas. Early signs of it would be kind of white patchy, but the dark is more common for areas of decay. Another area would be like interproximal or in between the teeth. You might see some decay there. And if, especially patients that have recession or their gums have kind of receded down, you can see areas right along the cervical there. And that's indicated in the next 2 pages there. And they actually have a good picture of the decay right there as well. So, but what you can do with the mirror when you're looking is you can either look directly, or if you don't have direct vision, you can use the mirror to look and see if you see any dark areas. So, and that would be reason to visit a dentist, so you can kind of let the family members know, hey, there's an area here that needs to be looked at. All right, and I think that covers everything that I wanted to talk about with you guys. Do you have any questions?
We're gonna leave you guys one of these books too, so if you have any questions, you can come and look at it.
All right, my name is Brittany. Again, I'm going to talk to y'all briefly about some dexterity modifications. How many of y'all have patients that do have maybe some rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, maybe just have a hard time gripping their utensils in general? Anybody? Have y'all dealt with your patients with this? Yes? Okay. I do see a lot of patients, geriatric patients, they have a very hard time, just gripping a regular toothbrush. This in itself, it's hard to grip at times, and I get that. So rather than go out and we spend a lot of money, we can do some modifications that cost little to nothing, and we have the items here. We can help accommodate these patients. The first one being the electric toothbrush. Everyone loves this. This is real fun, and it helps with, instead of having to actually move and adjust the wrist and the hands, we can go ahead and just use this in the mouth all the way around. So if your patients don't have these, I highly recommend these. A lot of my geriatric patients also have these. Something else that we have around here, a towel, 2 rubber bands. This adds some more, a little bit more girth. They can grab this much easier, and it makes it easier for them to actually take care of their oral health. This is something you can help them with, or if they feel that maybe they're having a hard day, particular day is a little bit difficult, they can actually adjust that themselves with some of the things that they have in their room. If you want to step it up and be a little fancy, whoa, watch out, guys. So this is something really nice too. If, some patients I have, they can't actually make this type of grip, and that's fine. So they may need something a little bit thicker, and you can adjust this as need be. I just happen to have a tennis ball laying around. And we just stick the toothbrush right in here, and this helps immensely. The same thing that Elena was talking about when it comes to flossing, I know a lot of, even us, how many here floss? Go and raise your hand if you floss every day. Girl, you lying to me. Don't you even lie. But, a lot of these patients are like, we actually came here and we met 2 of your patients, and they were fabulous. One of them just straight up told me, I don't care about my oral health. I don't care. That's fair. All right, I hear you. However, when it comes to flossing, she said, I absolutely won't do it because it hurts my hands. Okay, well, how do we fix that problem? We fix that problem by bringing you a nice tool. This tool, we go ahead and put the floss on it, and they can actually get up in to their teeth much easier without having to do the whole, let me get approximately 18 inches of string here, wrap it around, and get in between our teeth. That's just not something that's going to be plausible. So if we have something like this, and we can still accommodate them using it with a modification, boom. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is Biotene. Do any of your patients use this?
Yeah.
big fans of these, right? We'll bring y'all back some of this stuff. A lot of times with patients who are just not wanting to brush their teeth or take care of their oral health, they will also have some dry mouth. Their medications may also contribute to that. This is something fantastic that you can give to your patients so that they can help at least moisten the mouth and prevent any plaque, bacteria, or anything like that from sticking on the teeth. Does anyone here actually have a patient that may have a type of modification? Anybody? Anyone? No? All right. Well,
I explained mine that probably could benefit from that.
absolutely. I know the two patients that we had seen here, Emily and
Yeah, I gave
Joyce.
said that she never flossed, and so I handed her one of these, and she
Oh, yes,
flossed.
you showed me that.
Okay,
See?
and she was able to floss with this.
Yep.
But now some of your patients won't be able to grab this because it is very, very small, but she was able to, and she was like, okay, I can do that.
So the larger version becomes this. As far as modifications go, this isn't something you need to spend a lot of money on. None of your patients need to spend a lot of money on. There are things that are around them that they can use. Heck, you don't have a washcloth? Use a sock. There are ways to get around this where we can accommodate the patient to where they can continue to have proper oral hygiene. Any questions, comments, concerns? You're looking like you're falling asleep over there. Don't do it on me.
Well, thank you guys for being here. I hope you learned something, just to how that you could better help the patients that you're caring for, which is why you're here. You're here to care for them. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't be here. We wouldn't do the jobs that we do if we weren't trying to help people take better care of their mouths. And that's something that we all need. It's not easy. I use these tools, the floss picks, daily because I'm not a fan of the floss. I have a floss threader I use. I utilize the tongue scraper that Elena mentioned, and all of these tools just help anyone, you, your patients, have better oral health, just to take better care of your mouth. And, hopefully they have avenues to be able to see a dentist, at least yearly. And I know there are things, different programs that they may even be able to come here. We'll talk with some of the directors, maybe having some, they have mobile dentists that could possibly even come here and help see some of your patients. It's just being able to reach out to those type organizations, and hopefully we can help you guys. If you need some of those contacts, feel free, and we will try to help put you, in contact with whomever you need to speak with. Does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about? The ultrasonic machine Ballpark, I did look at those on eBay and stuff. You can get those, and they vary. You can get used ones, new ones. I mean, it could be $400 to even $1,200 new. So maybe the used variety, and maybe we could get something, with one of our reps. Maybe they could help you do that. It just, there again, that's something that you can help your patient that has dentures, partials. You can put them in those ultrasonics and, clean them. It's recommended twice a year, but you can do more if you wanted to. Yes.
I missed the beginning part with the dentures and stuff. Are they supposed to clean them and leave them out at night, or are they supposed to leave them in at night?
They are supposed to leave them out at night to help clean and moisturize them.
And then it's good for the tissue to breathe. So
The oral tissue that denture, adheres to and covers, it also needs air, just like the roof of our mouth, needs air.
But if you have patients who just absolutely don't want to take them out, at least have them take them out for like maybe 30 minutes, just so that you can let that tissue breathe for a little bit and clean them. Because you are going to have certain patients who just do not want to take them out.
We had a story our first semester, I'll never forget it, the dentist who teaches one of our classes, he told us a story of a woman. She never took them out. Her husband didn't even know she wore dentures. And finally, he was able to talk her out, or be able to take them out and talk her into letting them be cleaned in one of these ultrasonic machines. And as you can imagine, if something's just on the top of your roof of the mouth for years and years and never cleaned, you can imagine what you would run into. It's not I'm sure it wasn't a very pleasant
He
smell.
said it looked like algae.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's just something that, if it's never cleaned, it's, our mouths, they present very ideal environments for things to grow in, unfortunately. And that's why in the dental community it's easier, because we have studied in depth what happens, and we know we've got to clean that. Some of our patients, like Brittany mentioned, I'm just not interested in. And in this area, we get that a lot. Oral hygiene isn't really, taught from the times that we were little to, adulthood. And that's our job, to help inform people, to help them keep their mouths cleaner. We've got to physically remove bacteria twice a day. And that every one of us was given one of the electric toothbrushes that Brittany held out. I strongly recommend you guys doing that for yourself. I mean, it just,
Your teeth will
that thing cleans. I'll just turn this
I don't know if
It
it's,
might be
I don't think it's charged.
Oh, it's not charged. I won't turn this one off.
But you don't actually have to brush with that.
Yeah,
That
you just
brush
hold
is-
it and the head itself
Yeah.
oscillates and moves in a way that, it was designed by a dental hygienist, because it's cut to ideally cover the tooth, get the gum line, and physically remove that plaque.
What brand is that?
That's Oral-B.
Oral-B.
Oral-B designed that Sonic. They actually sold Sonicare the information to make their toothbrush, that technology. And Oral-B, they tested this their first semester. They did a study on Oral-B versus Sonicare. And I'm not trying to sell it. The Oral-B is just more powerful. It better removes that plaque from our teeth. And as we've seen, when that plaque hardens and tartar sets up, it is extremely tenacious. Somebody that smokes, uses any type of smokeless tobacco, it actually makes it even more tenacious, the plaque that adheres to our teeth. And if we can remove that, we as hygienists have to remove it once it gets to that phase. But if we teach all of our patients to remove that daily, it doesn't set up. So therefore, you can't have cavities. If you don't have that bacteria present on your teeth, you can't have cavities.
Another thing I want to say about the Biotene, saliva has a natural ability to help protect against cavities.
Yes.
So when they have dry mouth, there's like Brittany said, a lot of medications cause what we call xerostomia or dry mouth for our patients. So it's really important to have them hydrated somehow, either with like sugar-free mints or anything that has xylitol in it is really good. You just want to watch out for if too much of it at one point can cause a little GI upset. So if they're going to start using xylitol mints or something like that, kind of ease into it. But the Biotene is really good for the saliva substitute, and it helps kind of reestablish salivary flow and coat the teeth, and that's what the purpose of the saliva is, essentially in the mouth.
How many of y'all actually work directly with a patient to clean their teeth or mouth? Raise your hand. Y'all directly work with a patient. Okay. So y'all see that a little bit more than maybe some of the others who don't have to do that. Just being able to educate yourselves helps you educate your patients. And I know that may not be something that y'all think about because y'all have other things a big list of things y'all have to do, but this is really important for them. And a lot of times they do neglect themselves in their oral health. So being able to step in, be that helper is really imperative.
And I would like to add to what Brittany just said, that is important to them. We want you to be able to help your patients. And in hopes, because we know you guys have a checklist way beyond oral health. We know that, and it's a lot. But hopefully by giving you guys this information, maybe it helps you make your job easier. It, allows you to help take care of your patients better just through giving them these ideas. And feel free to ask, if you've got any questions, ask any of us, and we'll be back, Elena and I will be back, I think they'll be back another time. So we'll be in and out through, probably up until close to May. Just, if you have any questions, just grab us, but I don't know the answer I'll find out.
I do have a question
Okay.
about dentures. We have a resident right now that's lost a lot of weight. She has dementia. Is there anything we can do to help her dentures? Because right now they're just,
No,
Not working.
unfortunately, that means she's lost bone, so they're not gonna fit the same. Does she get to see a dentist?
no,
No.
she's,
She would either need like a reline or a new set. A reline is just gonna be where.
so there's no like padding that.
You can do that, it's still not gonna work that well, but, no. But a reline, it's just they put some material in there and kind of reshape it to her. But you all are actually gonna see that a lot too, as patients age or lose weight, they're gonna lose bone. So, over time, dentures do get looser and looser, so that's a common thing also.
Questions, comments, concerns, anything? Y'all are a quiet bunch. I don't know what I think about it.
The only thing I can think of is my dad had dentures and he got them before I was born. And in defense of some of them that won't take them out, he took his out to clean it, but he put them right back in because he said the dentist advised him to make sure they start, I mean, it's so hard to get adjusted to your gums, I think, and your gums swell. But he said that, and he just wouldn't ever take his out, I mean, to clean them and that he put them back in.
Did he get his teeth taken out right away and the dentures put in at the
Yes.
same appointment?
Yeah.
That's
You
why.
do have to keep it in for that, because if you take them out like within
No,
48 hours.
no, sorry. He was toothless for a while.
Oh, okay.
They pulled them and then said it's, but it's just
Usually it
getting-
won't swell unless you just have your surgery. Then you'll swell, and then it'll be like a couple of weeks before you get them back in.
No, it wasn't surgery, it was pulling so many teeth at a
Yeah.
time, pulling so many teeth at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, this was, I mean,
And
bad.
that's the best way to do it, because if you let yourself heal, then they'll fit better.
Yeah.
Like if you get them taken out and the denture put in right away, as you start healing, that bone's gonna shrink.
Right.
And most people have to have a reline after that too.
And like Diane mentioned, once those teeth are extracted, the bone levels in both the top and bottom jaws, they're naturally throughout the entire aging process. And in patients will vary it, incrementally, they're gonna lose that bone. I mean, it's gonna, and eventually, that's what Diane said, they'll have to be relined so that they fit whichever jaw they're in, upper or lower, better.
And lowers are harder to wear. There's not much bone down there,
Right.
so they don't stay in very well.
All right.
Anything else?
Thank you guys for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Thank you
for
for having us.
having us and at least letting us talk, and hopefully you guys can take something from the hope.
We're gonna leave a few things, and then as we come back to check our patients, if there's anything that you guys need or
Should
you
make a
find
list.
that some of this stuff's helpful, let us know, and we'll try to get you some more. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.